welcome to today's episode of Not So Daily Musings. But I have sat down recently to plan out the next quarter as I am wont to do with the change of seasons. So every 3 months, or at the change of seasons, I sit down and I think about the season to come. I like to plan the next 3 months in relation to my annual goals. And this year I set some pretty I was going to say they're modest. They're not that modest. I'm doing a lot of different things like going to university and running my business, and I just launched an album, not to mention parenting a 4-year-old. But I like to have annual goals in order to touch base on every few months and see how I'm doing with them. And the reason I was going to say they're kind of modest is that there's nothing, aside from the fact that I'm pretty busy with everything that I'm doing, nothing on it is really radical. Like a radical thing for me would be write a book. That would be like, oh, how am I going to pull that off? But going to university is pretty, like the path is given to me. There's not a lot of creative planning and stuff I need to do otherwise, aside from just sitting down and doing the work. But anyway, I sat down, I had a quarterly planning session, and I realized a couple things. One, I realized now that I'm in the swing of things a little bit, I think I have a little bit of extra wiggle room to do these videos. I'm not sure the frequency or anything like that, but I really like doing it. It feels like something that's very much me. I feel like it's one of the things that I can do that has a very like, yes, this is like a very almost like meditative experience to have a conversation with you. It's a unidirectional conversation, but all the same. So that's one of the things that I realized when doing my quarterly planning. The other thing that I realized is I'm making a big mistake, and this is something that probably a lot of you have experienced. I'm not sure, maybe as a student or as an entrepreneur or whatever else you happen to do. But that mistake is not taking evenings off. And I spent the winter quarter doing just a lot of hustling, doing a lot of work. And I often felt like, ooh, I can barely handle this. This is like the peak of what I'm capable of. It's like the whole thing is about to topple over, but I'm managing to keep it together barely. And actually, I think I realized a big part of that is just the fact that I'm doing stuff all day long. When I look at my schedule, it would be, basically from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. There was something on the schedule. Even if those things were open, even if it was just like general parenting stuff or preparing supper or whatever, it was like there was always something accounted for. And what I realized is when I do work in the evening, or when I have work planned for the evening, whether that be schoolwork or actual work, it ends up sitting on me like a big mental burden all day long. And as I'm going through supper and doing the bedtime tasks and stuff like that, it's just in the back of my mind, and it just kills my buzz a little bit. It kills my spirit. And then it's time for me to sit down and do my evening work, and I resent it, and I have low energy, and I'm just grumpy. And yet it somehow felt really necessary that I had to do this nighttime work. So I kind of turned that around a little bit. I said, is it actually necessary for me to work at night? Can I jiggle my schedule a little bit so that no matter what, by like 7 p.m., after supper, after bedtime, I'm done. I can just relax. I can kick back. I can talk with friends or read a book or do some yoga or whatever things that fill my spirit with joy. Just having room for that. So I very, very recently started experimenting with this, and this is part of my Q2 goal, is to not work in the evenings as much as possible. Now that's gonna, I think, translate to only being 5 or 6 days a week, not 7, because I do teach on Tuesday evenings, and I'm fine with that. Like 5 to 6 days a week is great. And what I've really found is that my whole day is improved because I no longer have this burden on me as I'm going about my tasks. And I'm no longer going through supper thinking like, oh, I still have like 2 hours of X to deal with. I'm not, trying to rush through the bedtime routine with my kid because I'm thinking like, I got to do this, and this still, which really does like dampen the spirit. So now I just feel like, I can like breathe. I don't have to rush. There's this sense of peace. I enjoy bedtime more. We can read an extra story. We can, do you like reading extra stories? I have my kid is just, very peacefully and quietly tolerating me recording this video right now. So that was the one thing I just wanted to sit down and share with you today. That seems so obvious. I mean, there's lots of people who work regular jobs who pack it up at 5 and then are done for the day and get to enjoy this benefit already. But there's probably a lot of you also who might have a tendency to open up the laptop in the evening. And maybe this is just the way that I think and that I work, but I'm very happy to experiment with this new idea to me, the idea of not working in the evening. So far, so good. I hope you're well, and I'll catch you in the next video.